the search for the next Tech Girl superhero. Very happy to be here with you today and hoping you've had a good start to the competition. So as an update, we now have 65 teams registered, so it's growing by the day, and we are still in need of a few more mentors, and teams can still register until the end of April, so the 29th of April. Because some teams are still on school holidays this week, they're going to start a couple weeks late, so if they do, they will submit by the 15th of July, and everyone else, you may have a couple of extra weeks at the end if you would like to finalize your app. So the purpose of this week's activity is to brainstorm. So the idea is in your groups, we get together and we try to get all of our ideas out there on the table. So the idea of brainstorming is to just let the ideas flow freely, to share them amongst our team, and then once we have all of them down on paper or the whiteboard or whatever works for us, then we sit and we go through all of those ideas to work out which are the ones that appeal most to us or to the most people in the team. So I was just sitting down with a couple of teams today at a local school, and they had about 3 different ideas for the type of app they wanted to build. So what happens is once we get all of those ideas down on paper, we start to think about the feasibility and the challenge that we have in building those apps or those ideas, developing those ideas. So for instance, it might be a matter of weighing up, well, what is going to give the best value to our target audience or our users? It might be how difficult technically will this be to implement, or it might be how difficult will it be to find our target audience to actually talk to them and ask questions. So if you're building an app, for instance, to solve farming in Central Africa, it's going to be quite difficult for you to find a way to talk to people who will be using your app. So that might come into your considerations about which kind of app to develop. So really now is the time to start thinking about, as I said, your target audience. So who are the people that are going to use your app? You need to start talking to them. So even if it's just an idea at the moment, you need to see, is it feasible? Is this something that would be useful to them? Is it something they could build into their everyday lives? Most of all, is it something that will actually solve a frustration for that particular user group? And many technologies and services come out of a frustration. So people annoyed at the situation and then coming up with a solution to hopefully alleviate that pain. So what are your target audience's frustrations? And also what are their needs, wants and desires? So what do they need in an app? And that's your core idea for your design. What are your wants? So what are those additional things we might add that would be nice? And then also what are the desires, which are usually things we add as enhancements down the track. But what is the core part? And if you think of something like Microsoft Word, there's many tools in Microsoft Word. So I'm sure most of you don't know what's under the tools menu. And that's okay, you still manage to use the app well. But if you were to break, say, Microsoft Word down to its bare bones, there's probably only 5 features that are absolute needs in there. So we need to be able to create a new document, we need to save it, we need to print it, we might also need to copy and paste within a document. Yeah, we can add tables and images and other things, but they're not necessarily the core needs of what we need as a word processor. So try to think about that and go out and think about what are your favorite apps. Now, I may have mentioned this last week, but it's still good to have another think about it. What are your top 3 favorite apps? What are your top 3 least favorite apps? What do you love about them? What do you hate about them? How can you use that learning to build it into your app design? So it might be you really like the color scheme, the navigation, the ease of use. It might be the interoperability with other kinds of systems. So have a think about what those things are that you really like and how can we then start to bring them into your design. So I think that will give you enough to work with this week. Just the act of brainstorming is a really powerful thing and something that I hope you'll have a bit of fun with. Hopefully you've met your mentor by now, or if not, you will be very soon. So all teams have been matched up. So teams, please make an effort to send your mentors an email as soon as possible. And then you can get started and move things along. And they're there to help guide you through the program. I'm also here, as always, to answer any questions that you need. So you can send me a message. A little bit of an update today. We are using a new system called Slack, S-L-A-C-K. It's a private messaging system where only people who I invite can actually join and participate in the conversation. So depending on if you want some more interaction with other mentors and other teams in the competition, you can jump on there and then you can send me a direct message straight away. So you might not have access to it in school, I'm not quite sure, but have a talk about it with your coach and see if that's a solution that might work for you. Even in that hour that you have a meeting once a week, you might want to actually use that hour and communicate through Slack with your mentor or through other mentors as well, and myself. But I just want you to know that there is a community of people out there. We have, I think, now 65 mentors, as many as teams as we have. So there's so many amazing women out there who are here to help you and give something back. So I want you to know who they are and to share that. And also on the website, if you go to the Tech Girls Movement website, we now have all of our mentors profiled on there. So you can go and read about all of the amazing women who are out helping us to make a difference in the world. So that's it for me for the moment. Bye for now. Keep working hard for the next week, and the more you do at the beginning, the easier things will be as you go along. So, thank you for listening, and I will see you in a week's time. Stay super!